Hey out there, this is Thursday, August 8th, 2019. And it is about 9:36 in the morning here in Northern California. Today, as usual, I'll get into a lot of different stuff. I kind of wanted the theme to be pointing out the fact, the incontrovertible fact, that evil men who create the policies we all have to live under do not want social, political, and economic problems solved because in their sick and twisted minds, they believe somehow they will lose. And, it's kind of like a snot nosed, bratty child that doesn't understand that uh, when their parents tell them that under no uncertain terms it's a hazard to cross the street willy nilly without paying attention to automobiles that are coming. It's similar to that, where you are, and the kid still thinks that you're just trying to take their fun away. You're trying to cramp their style, take away their freedom to do what they want, right? Impose on them. And that's kind of the mindset of these people at the very top. These Satanists, a lot of them are very open about their lack of belief in God. They mock God as, oh, you're religious fanatics. You're the nuts. I'm an atheist. I'm scientific. And I'm an elitist. And yes, I believe that I'm smarter and better and I deserve to run the world. And that's where these people are coming from at the top. And that mentality permeates our culture. It's emblematic. It's indicative of our overall reality, our paradigm, the pattern that we think, our psychological mode, let's say, is very negative and twisted at the hands of these people. That we tend to believe that conforming is the solution, that we should just do what everybody tells us to do. And remember, everybody is conditioned, they're programmed, they're indoctrinated, they're inculcated into a corrupt system, okay, from the start. This is a thing that starts from birth, that it's crammed down our throats. And last week I was trying to think of the song by The Doors that reminded me of that. And it was Riders on the Storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown, like a dog without a bone, riders on the storm. And it is tough being human. We're under a lot of duress. I mean, if you just take the organic duress, let's say that we had, in my mind, an ideal society whereby there was no form of money at all, period. Because money is a concept. It's an idea. It's an invention, right? Basically, it's just an extension of bartering, right? Is supposedly what it does. It facilitates. It's a more sophisticated form of bartering, right? That's what we're sold money as. So let's say we had that perfect ideal world that I'm yearning for, pining for, and so many other people are too. People that profess Christianity or Judaism or Islamism or Buddhism or any number of other faiths out there, they're generally very good-hearted people that value the right things, like conscience, integrity, honor, reputation, their very soul. And, who could say there's anything wrong with that? There's not. But all these people want the same thing, basically. They want humanity to live together in peace and harmony, safety, security, freedom, and prosperity. Universal. Okay, they're good-hearted at their core. There's a lot of people in this world that are very good, well-meaning people. But we got to understand the duress we're under to be evil, the forces, the pressure, to just be off track a little. Like you say, I prescribe to all those noble, lofty things. Yes, those are my ultimate values. But in the meantime, I must serve the God of this world. You see, this is a problem. There's a departure there, and a lot of people may not recognize it because it's clouded. It's made nebulous. It's made ambivalent and ambiguous by the workers of iniquity that run the show at the very top. They always want us to have our focus off reality, the true reality. The only one that's valid and worthy is the one that God will tell us is reality, dictates reality. We go to God. We ask, well, God, what is the truth about this? What is the reality you want us to have? And you see what a departure it is from the one that we have, this artificial reality. But let's say everything was perfect. There was no money. And, we still have an enormous amount of organic suffering, right? Because we're basically on the same level as all the other creatures on the face of the earth. So we just become one more animal, right? In that sense, organically speaking, we're subject to the same things that the animals are. Predation, right? They all face predation. They all face extreme temperature changes and the need for shelter, right? They all face the need for food. They all face the need for potable water. They all face natural disasters of every type, right? I mean, there's all these forms of organic suffering, and then ultimately we all face death. We all know it's an inevitable. The animals see it. They see when one of their own dies, it's killed by a predator. I mean, a disease, it happens, right? So they all observe it, just like humans, just become one more animal, one more creature. So the only thing that distinguishes human beings is that we have this godlike nature to think beyond the pale, beyond the realm of all the other creatures. We're not just, we don't just go by instinct, animal instincts, okay? We are able to rise above that and to ponder the highest levels that we can. I mean, and virtually those levels become inexhaustible. When you start using your imagination in a godly way, you realize that there is a huge departure between you as a human creature, animal, and all the other creatures who are going strictly by instinct. They don't have the capacity to do the things we have. Look what a huge, profound difference there is between our ability as human beings to invent technology and to make it manifest and to every other creature out there. I mean, you could combine all the other creatures' intellect and their ability to produce technology, okay, tangible. I mean, just to take an idea, a concept that's invisible, it's in our mind, and then to put it on paper, and then to share it with other people, and with a collective, you make it come together, okay? You work together to bring these things to fruition. I mean, we are godlike creatures. There's just no doubt about it that we are incredibly different from all the other creatures. And we ought not be subjected to the things that other creatures are. We should rise above, even on an organic sense. I mean, we can make a lot better shelters than a fox with its hole in the ground or a bird with its flimsy nest in the tree, right? We can do much better than that. And we have, okay? And you see, the problem is that the people that are creating this world are not benefiting from it. You look in, everything comes down to economics. Let's look at the fact that we've got all this new state-of-the-art technology regarding implements, tools that people use. Let's go back 300 years, and you see the way that people were building homes. Okay, they had very rudimentary tools, right? I don't know, my history is not that great on forging and whatnot, but I mean, they had some form of saws, right? They could cut wood somehow, because thousands of years ago they were building houses out of wood. I mean, Jesus himself was a carpenter, and carpenters need tools. They need rudimentary carpentry tools, and a saw is probably number one. So you had saws, but look at the saws of today. So let's say you charge X amount for your work back then, okay, back 2,000 years ago when Jesus walked the earth as a carpenter, right? So it cost X amount to build your house, right, with rudimentary tools that it took a lot more man hours to build. But nonetheless, that was the going rate to build that house. Now today, let's superimpose that in the 21st century. where we've got tools we can cut the wood in a fraction of the time, let's say 1/10 of the time. Now, who should benefit from that? Well, you say, well, why not everybody? Well, everybody, if everybody did benefit from it, then the workers would benefit from it. So you'd be getting the same price for doing the work, and even though it took you 1/10 the amount of time. You get it? How it should work, but it's gone the other direction, you see? And this is what I find so unnerving and difficult. I feel like sometimes, and I hate to say it because it doesn't bring any joy to my heart to say I feel like I'm the smartest guy in the world sometimes, which, I find also very difficult to believe when I look at how unbelievably smart so many other people are when it comes to technical issues. Okay, they're way geniuses, and I think, no way am I as smart as this nuclear physicist. Okay, but yet in certain ways I think I am. That I don't hear anybody else pointing these things out, but this stuff is glaringly obvious to me, that it's such a theft of the working class that's taking place. This is the whole national debt. You got to understand rudimentary economics. You got to understand capitalism. You got to understand supply and demand. And this is stuff even children can understand. Okay, it really is. Look, it's as simple as this. The whole idea of creating advanced tools and implements is to make our work easier. Okay, that's it. That's the whole idea, is to take some burden away from the workers. But they're just putting more burden on. They're saying, well, your work is easy. I mean, you don't even need skill, for example, to do this or that job. And, if I take landscaping, for example, I mean, anybody can use a string trimmer and a weed whacker and a chainsaw and a blower and a rake and a shovel and any other tools that that's no big deal. But understand that, let's go back a couple thousand years ago to the job of a landscaper or a gardener, okay? I mean, only the kings and queens of the earth practically could afford a gardener, because it was a 24-hour a day, it was 7-day-a-week job, right? I mean, it was very intensive. Did they have hedge trimmers? I don't know. Did they have any way to trim bushes? What did they do? They certainly didn't have chainsaws. Okay, but you can see how much a chainsaw expedites the work as opposed to a handsaw when it comes to cutting down a tree. Again, about 1/10 of the labor, the time involved. But who's benefiting? Well, the workers ought to benefit. They haven't. They're perpetually cheating the workers out of fair pay. And that's a big deal. When it comes to understanding economics, you got to understand who is paying the price. And it's always the people that can afford to pay the price the least. It's not the rich people out there. And I understand that, people that believe in socialism believe they're virtuous, and they believe that they're egalitarian. They believe in equality. So their hearts are good, but they're wrong in terms of the viability, the workability, okay, the doability, the practicality. It doesn't work. If you look through history, anytime you try to just say, let's make this work and let's be logical and let's just make the rich, those that can comfortably afford to pay the bills of society,